Hi guys, it's Natalie Zangon. Hope you're doing well. I had been asked from a few different people to do a video about this. I wanted to do a talk regarding mental state and Mother's Day and motherhood in general. Many people assume that every woman on earth, as soon as she's pregnant and she gives birth, she's ecstatic and she goes right away into this automatic mode of motherhood, wanting to care for the baby, feed the baby, change the baby, wake up in the middle of the night and be with the baby, and just she is so thrilled. That's not the reality. That does not happen with every mother. We have to understand and educate ourselves, educate our community, educate everyone that we know that that is not what takes place with every mother. Also, we have to remember now there is a theme that even women can get hired to become a surrogate. So you can hire another woman to carry the fetus because of whatever reason that individual cannot. And the woman can give birth to the baby and give the baby back to the original parents. However, the individual who is the pregnant woman, let's call it in this case the mother of the child, can go through a lot of moods and hormonal changes. And during that hormonal changes, some women's level of serotonin can drop so much that they can go into postpartum depression. There isn't enough discussion and conversations regarding postpartum depression. And I believe it's very important that every community can have their own representatives to speak to them about this, to speak with them about the importance of postpartum depression, what it is, how it affects the woman, what can they do, and how important it is to get them the right type of help before it gets worse and worse. In many cultures, when a woman gives birth, usually the first month, they don't leave the woman alone with the baby. They have visitors, they have, people coming and being with her. The family comes and stays with her. And even back in the days, in the ancient time, the woman who would give birth was never alone. The elders, the villagers would always surround her and be with her in case she had an emotional or mental or whatever it was to be with her and not leave her alone with the baby. Many times women who go through this postpartum depression, they're not even realizing that it's happening. They're doubting themselves. They're wondering, what's wrong with me? Why can I do this? Other people have 4 or 5 kids and they have it all together. Women in general want to do it all, want to be it all, want to just work so hard. But they don't realize that what's happening with them is a mental, emotional situation, that there isn't enough neurotransmitters that they used to have to be able to function on an average level. I say, how we have the water, when you say the water is room temperature, mental state has to also be in a room temperature for a woman to be able to function, to do her daily task. So when a woman that just gave birth tells you it's just so hard, I just feel like I can't get out of bed, don't take it lightly. Or she says, I'm just so overwhelmed. I can't manage. It's just not me. I just can't even get myself to shower. These are very key words to pay close attention to. And husbands also need to be educated about this. Community members need to be educated about this. Unfortunately, as many of you know, I work as a Jewish child advocate through our Children's Village advocacy with our amazing group and volunteers. And, everyone that works with us, we have dealt with cases where the Jewish woman, went into postpartum depression and her children were detained. Her child was detained because she was deteriorating so badly to the level that she was neglecting the baby. And by the time DCFS got involved, she had been decompensating so much that it was much harder to get her back on track to get the help that she needs. Postpartum depression can affect anyone. It has nothing to do with your financial status, your age, how many children you have you ever had it in your family or not. It can happen to anybody. Postpartum depression is really real. It affects women. It even can get them to a point of wanting to hurt themselves or wanting to hurt the baby. And it's really a psychotic breakdown in the mind. And they can even go into psychosis, go into paranoia, think they're hearing things, think people are after them. And it's all because there is an imbalance of a neurotransmitter in their brain that takes place. And many times this happens after delivery. So they don't really have much of a drive for breastfeeding. They don't have much of a drive to care for the baby. They don't have that amount of oxytocin and dopamine that like bonds the mother and the baby. They don't have it. Their brain is not producing enough of it. So it's the opposite. They're going into postpartum depression. That means all of these neurotransmitters have dropped instead of increasing, because when it increases, that's what helps the mother to bond with the baby. Just like melatonin, when you produce melatonin at nighttime or you take melatonin over the counter, it's what helps your mind to calm down and be able to go to sleep. So serotonin and dopamine and oxytocin is the bonding neurotransmitters that helps the mother connect with her baby. But this doesn't happen with everyone. And sometimes it can happen on the third child. Sometimes it can happen on the first child. It's important to pay close attention to. And the earlier you catch it, the earlier you notice it, the more likely you are to get the woman on board and talk to her OBGYN and have her get referred out to get the help. So don't take it lightly when the mother says, to be honest, I'm just not happy. To be honest, I just don't feel so happy that I'm a mother. Like, don't think to yourself, how could she be such a horrible person? Because you never know what's going on in her mind. It could be much, much deeper than that. So this Mother's Day, I'm asking all of you that are taking a moment to watch this video, please make effort and share it and tell your friends and your family and other people about it. There are a lot of isolated women who are going through postpartum depression and no one noticed it and no one knew, and they are in such situation struggling all by themselves, and they could have get so much more help if it would have been noticed much earlier on. Thank you so much for watching. This is Natalie Zangon.